The games were solid. They were winning all their lanes. They won really. I think they did well, at least in all 3 lanes, and we're in a good spot. But we will see if they can improve upon game 1 here and make this a competitive series, or if FURIA is just going to knock both LCS teams lower bracket, which would mean we'd have C9 versus Sentinels in lower bracket, and guaranteed one of our teams will be out.
Yeah, guarantee one of our teams are out. Guarantee one of our teams in the finals, if you think about it. Oh, actually, we're already guaranteed for that regardless. Yeah. I'm trying to look on the bright side here, but also, we're speaking too soon. There's more games to be played here. Love the respect for IU's Yasuo, as that's banned away. They did pull that out in game 2 on day 1 of America's Cup, and it's going to be first pick Pantheon for Sentinels.
Okay, so Pantheon going to come through. You're already assuming it's going to be Taliyah unless it does get taken away. But Ashe was not banned, so we're going to get Seraphine Ashe for FURIA. It was banned in the first game, and it kind of works as a double ban because really people are only playing Ashe with Seraphine and only Seraphine with Ashe for the most part these days. So you kind of know if you ban one, you ban the other. It's kind of like when Zyra was super popular, you just have to ban one half of it.
So then I'm thinking, so they could lock it in right now as they do. I was also wondering, do they take the Taliyah? Because Vi's also up, so they could go like Vi Taliyah combo and then have the Seraphine later on to pick up. But no, they do just log in the Seraphine, and it's not Taliyah early for Sentinels. It is Jhin Bard to answer that bot lane 2v2.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's more about surviving the lane, you know, in this case. When you have Jhin coming through with Pantheon, though, you're thinking about divers that are going to pair well with it on the top side, because you don't want to have Pantheon just going on a one-way trip.
Yeah.
Bard is very effective at setting up the initial engages against champions like this that are quite low mobility. Skarner is an interesting answer. Usually it's one that you only see people go towards later on in the series once all the kind of prime AD junglers are already gone. But Tatu's going to go towards the Skarner here pretty early, and he is maybe just making the same read of, all right, we have Ashe Seraphine, you picked Bard, you're gonna Tempered Fate on their head, and you're gonna try to full send it, right? And if you do that, you have Encore as the counter engage, and you have the Impale as the counter engage, which can be quite effective. So we'll see how Sentinels wants to ban around that. If I'm FURIA, I'm banning divers. I'm banning champions that, you know, work well for impact and can get into the back line. So I'm thinking Gwen, I'm thinking Renekton, I'm thinking, you know, maybe Zaahen and champions along those lines.
Maybe Aurora if you still think it's a top laner,
I don't think Impact plays Aurora.
No.
Or, well, I mean, he might play it, but I wouldn't want to see him play it. I just don't really associate those types of champs with his success, honestly. And DARKWINGS is not really the diver type of player. So I feel like for FURIA, you already know DARKWINGS is probably going to play Control Mage, so just don't worry about that. And I would just kind of target Impact's pool. Because if you just have Impact on a tank or whatever, DARKWINGS on a Control Mage, what does Pantheon do this game, right?
It's going to be much harder for him, as Renekton would be the obvious one. No, they go for the Taliyah. So they still say, we can't ban out all the diving top laners. Let's just take away the mid lane combination with the Pantheon instead.
I honestly thought that they would have just maybe taken the Taliyah, but they're going to go a different route. So are going to save one ban for that. I felt like when it fell through the first stage, they might try to just grab it for themselves, but it is going to be probably the Akali ban would be my guess, since I don't know, they're going to go Jax. Interesting. So Akali is going to be left up. Not too worried about that for now, but Syndra will remain on the ban page here for Tutsz.
Yeah, Pantheon, when I think of like Akali's strengths, having a point-and-click stun to set up, then follow-up CC from something like a Jhin can get scary to play a squishier melee champion like Akali if you're going into the Pantheon's range. So maybe that's where Sentinels is coming from also. It's like we already are kind of showing a tool to just point-and-click, stop the Akali in her tracks.
But that being said, he presses stun as you press Shroud, and then you're just invis, and you're not actually getting anything out of it. So you still have to have the AoE damage to actually kill them in it. Honestly, I can't think of what picks Sentinels could go for that would make me like their draft more than FURIA. I feel like I almost don't even care what the last picks are. I already feel like FURIA won the draft. I think that their draft is really,
Look
really
at
strong.
this front line. They have so many different options for engage, for peel.
Ryze is not saving it for me at all.
I mean, I'm thinking Azir would feel better than that.
It feels hilarious to say this with 4 champions picked against 3, but and I'm not usually an overreaction Andy with the draft, but oh my god.
All right.
I hate our draft.
We're going to Ryze.
I think we're going down 2 games.
Anivia is up. I am imagining Tutsz will just play that. It's a classic counter into the Ryze around the world right now.
Remake? This draft looks horrible.
Sentinels had a bug, actually.
Who is killing Sion and Skarner with a Seraphine behind them, by the way?
I guess Zaahen? Are you more convinced now? You got your dive champ.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
I mean, you can win any game very clearly, right? You can win any game. I feel like Akali is weird and would not fit this draft, but he's maybe just going to do it because he's an Akali guy. I feel like you just want to play a control mage with this. Okay. So I think that is a weird, disjointed 5th pick, to be honest, but maybe it doesn't matter. I just feel like their backline will be so hard to actually deal with. Obviously, early game can change things a lot, and I do think the Akali pick was not good at all. I don't think Akali makes any sense.
Did that save our picks?
I think it helped us a little bit, yeah.
It helped us a little bit?
It did help us a little bit.
We need the hope, because I was on your page when I saw the first 4.
If they just go control mage here, I'm like, how the hell are we getting to their backline and killing off Ashe and Azir or whatever, right? Like, I just don't see it with Impale and Encore and all this CC that could come through. So I was feeling really nervous. I mean, it's League though. Draft is like a force multiplier. Your play is what makes the difference, right? At the end of the day, I mean, draft can set you up with a big advantage or big disadvantage. But that being said, sometimes a draft can look really one-sided, and then someone gets very ahead, and all of a sudden nothing matters, right? It's like if the Sion gets pounded into the dust and is super far behind, then you're not really worrying about him. But Jhin is not a tank killer. Ryze is not a tank killer. Yeah, Impact can win the 1v1, but again, you don't really have people to kill Sion, and I don't feel that you have the easiest ways to get to the backline past the Sion and kill off the carries either. So Akali makes it easier because, yeah, you might be able to CC the Akali, you might be able to just burst him down. But I do think it's really, really hard to reach Ayu in this, and that's why I thought a control mage would pair well with it because, okay, you can Pantheon ult on his head, you're trying to send in, but Impale, Ishtal's Impact, Encore, that's tough.
It's going to be very, very hard. And to your point about, Sentinels, maybe it's just about execution, the composition being a multiplier for skill expression. Same can be said for the comfort pick Akali. This is one of Tutz's favorite champions, so even though it doesn't necessarily fit, I still think, we know what he's capable of on it. It was banned in Game 1. Let's see if it's going to work for FURIA in Game 2. As they're up 1-0 in this series, we're on to the rift for Game 2 of FURIA versus Sentinels.
Yeah, like you said, it goes both ways. I mean, the Akali, maybe the Akali just gets a bunch of kills on Ryze, and then who cares? You're just one-shotting the Jhin every fight. So that's obviously valuable if you're going to do that. But yeah, no, I did really like what FURIA drafted through the first 4. I feel like the Akali is super random because I don't think that Sion and Skarner really want to dive. I think that they want to peel. But you can play it many different ways, so we will see how it goes here. Definitely very worried for Sentinels, though, in this one. I thought our Game 1 draft was a lot better than this draft. A lot better.
This one not quite the same
At least not to my preference. But that's the interesting thing about League, right? And that's why I think draft can be fun to talk about, is that, I will sometimes literally talk to both coaches immediately after a draft, and they will both tell me, oh my God, these guys are clueless. They had no idea what they're doing in draft. They got completely blasted. We got this and this. They have no chance. And then you go to the other guy, they're like, can you believe those idiots picked that? And it's like, it's the pick that Team A thinks that won them the draft. And Team B is like, those morons, what were they doing?
And then whatever team loses the game is like, oh, it wasn't draft. If it was just, we botched that 6-minute.
The players always think it's draft, and the coaches never think it's draft.
Yeah, that 6-minute scuttle, it's really doing a lot of heavy lifting for draft defense so far this year.
I mean, you pick the ultimate scaling team, and then you just int the game at 5 minutes at scuttle. Well, draft diff, what can you do?
That's the ticket right there. All right, well, so far DARKWINGS does get the early push onto Tutsz, so we're not seeing the Akali run away with the early game here, but I think that's to be expected. You're the range into the melee matchup, and Tutsz is just going to be trying to get those levels and get that first back as safely as possible. I mean, this is actually a pretty good chunk from DARKWINGS. He also gets the ward down to spot out where Tatu's going.
Yep, but he hasn't gotten the potion out yet or anything, so he's just looking to recall. He's just hard shoving, and he just wants a tier recall, pretty much guaranteed. And so that's kind of what you're looking for on that side. You do have to give some respect over to Tatu in that threat of a gank. So huhi was at least threatening that he could have warded. He's walking over and saying, hey, I could have dropped a ward over here. So we'll see if
Phantom ward,
yeah, exactly. We'll see if they do try to do that. Those kind of plays are the plays that don't do anything when you're playing solo queue because no one's good enough to even track it or react to it. But the fake warding can actually be a big deal sometimes in pro play, which is kind of fun when people just walk out and they're like, all right, he has a ward here, and then you drop your ward later in a different spot, and people try to circumvent that ward. They're playing around it. It doesn't even exist. So I always think that's cool.
Ooh.
Nice trade from Impact. He knocked
W onto Guigo, and Guigo should be able to walk away from that one. But
cooldowns are too long at this point, but that was still really well played. He has knock-up prime, so he goes in, knocks him up, hits the dreaded return. If he gets one more knock-up, maybe he could get a flash, but nope.
Guigo just has to walk away from the wave. I mean, he got a CS advantage there and got the wave shoved in, but Impact showing the strength of the Zaahen in the 1v1 matchup.
Yep. Wave's coming towards him, though, so honestly, he doesn't really care. I mean, yeah, Guigo is lower on HP, he lost the trade, but truly, who cares? It is Sion, and you are farming, so that is... As long as you're farming and not dying on Sion, you're kind of just winning, right? That's kind of how the champion works. Yeah. So, there's a lot of matchups that it's like, oh, yeah, this is really good into Sion, you know, like Renekton and Aatrox and Zaahen and all these things, but... largely, unless you can really slam home an advantage or create a huge gold lead from that you can turn into a team fight advantage, it doesn't really do anything.
One day they will release a top laner that can actually just kill him, as huhi has to flash away. Ayu got back into the lane, and the focus fire, first blood to FURIA's bot laner, and it's going from bad to worse for Sentinels, as now Impact's getting ganked up here. HamBak will come in. Impact's buying a lot of space for it. Flash forward from HamBak. They get the kill onto Guigo, but Impact is so low, the Sion will chase him down with a couple autos. Bop, bop. Trades the kill back.
Dude, Sion Zombie is way too fast.
It's so fast.
Like, what is that? He's half a screen away from Impact, and Impact never stops running at any point, and it still catches up and kills him. Yeah. That is wild, but good job by HamBak getting in there and getting a kill back, but huhi really messed up on bot side. That's a Ghost Ashe, so if you overstep like that and you get rooted, you get slowed down, you are not getting away in a long lane unless you're hugging the other side. You need to be playing to the left side and try to actually use Magical Journey. Like, that is the way you actually disengage from those. Yeah. So when you're on the right side here,
yeah, he's just not going to work, right?
And you know it's warded. Like, the only way out, I feel like at that point, is he needed to probably try to flash left and Magical Journey through that fat wall.
He's trying to Magical Journey through the alcove. You can't find the angle. Yeah.
The angle is really slight there, and yeah.
Oh, I actually didn't see the start of this.
HamBak for a dive.
Yeah, he was actually in a forward position. So it wasn't Impact to like push too far forward. It was Impact setting up HamBak, and then Tatu was just there already. And then we see the rest of this. Yeah, that's the fast side. They bait you because he has 4 abilities in zombie form. They all do the same thing. It's just go faster. Run at him.
You have 4 abilities, but you press one of them and they all go on cooldown. Yeah. So, do you have 4 abilities or do you have one ability?
You have one ability that you can look at a lot. Oh! Photo finish escape from DARKWINGS.
I want to say that was sub 10 HP.
Yeah, it has to be.
Sometimes
you can barely
lucky.
even see that
Sometimes
health bar.
lucky.
Sometimes. Uh-oh, huhi though. Has Tatu right there. The XL impact will land into the wall. The stun from the Skarner, but the Magical Journey over the wall. Cosmic Binding. HamBak goes through, and the rest of FURIA bot lane follows up. The Aegis Assault will absorb a lot of the cooldowns. They got Tatu, but HamBak will fall as well. Flash forward from Ayu.
What are you doing?
Double kill to the Ashe.
Huhi has 1 HP. What is he doing going back in?
Hit the binding. It looked cool.
No, it didn't. Didn't look cool at all.
Looks cool in the gray screen. All right, Impact goes for the Grim Deliverance. Doesn't have enough damage, though. And Guigo's able to back off. Okay. Okay.
It's looking bad.
Okay.
It was looking bad in the draft, and I think it's looking a lot worse in the gameplay. So.
HamBak's 2-1.
Yep, that's true.
Kind of exciting.
Yeah.
If you just don't look at the bottom two.
Really, yeah.
Don't look at the bottom half of the scoreboard.
Yeah. I will say I underestimated Sentinel's damage a bit here. They played it out pretty well. Hui's able to kite out, good binding. They had the Deadly Flourish from Rahel, so really good CC chain in onto Tatu. And they are able to knock him down. HamBak did a good job absorbing a ton of that damage, but then huhi had no business walking back up here and gives over a freebie. I mean, Rahel still has good health, but yeah, you just have such low consistent damage. That is always the problem with Jhin, unless you are very far ahead. I just feel like every time Jhin gets picked, you can pretty much, it's just a scheduled loss. It's just, you're just accepting defeat when you click Jhin, you're like, yeah.
Especially before
I'm
the top
kind of down to lose this game. Let's just go Jhin.
Yeah, if they're showing like Renekton or like Gwen or something, maybe, you know, something Jhin can actually do damage
It sounds horrible against those two.
Okay, what would it feel not as bad against?
There's nothing. That's why it's Jhin.
If they're showing Aurora top lane.
Yeah, then you're going to die to the Aurora.
You can throw a W before you die.
Yeah, can you?
Yeah. Just a little Deadly Flourish on the way out.
I'm telling you, man. Jhin is just a scheduled loss. You lock it in when you're down to lose. It has. Let me look this up. Dude, its win rate in LCS this year is crazy.
I would say Jhin players are probably upset with that statement, but I know in AD carry players, they're probably like, yeah, I mean, come on, buff our champion. Azael knows.
I mean, Jhin just sucks. Bot lane is super OP.
Tutsz actually taking some big damage here from DARKWINGS, but is able to back off just fine. Doesn't go for the all-in. Are you looking up win rates? What are we looking at for Jhin here?
I'm trying to find the win rate.
All right. Well, all you're doing for that, or looking at for that, HamBak's going to go for a reset as Tatu is on the bottom camps. And Wave's going to shove away from Sentinels here. Looks like they have more caster minions in the wave right now. We got to be careful as the Skarner could look for a play onto them. So HamBak will actually head right back to the bot side. He has the Grand Starfall. He actually might just look to, he's got no camp. So like HamBak has to be looking for something down here.
All right, we got the 36% win rate. Honestly, it's not as bad as I thought.
That's still kind of low though.
It's 43 globally.
We're doing. They throw out the Tempered Fate onto IU. The Encore will land only onto HamBak, but it was buffered. IU's able to sidestep the Deadly Flourish as Tatu comes in. Huhi cannot land the stun. Tatu just Ixtal impacts into the wall in mid lane, though. We have a 1v1. DARKWINGS again escapes. Die from HamBak, but Tatu flashing forward for the kill. Huhi's going to go down as well. I don't know if we need to go under that turret.
Why are they trying to go for two different people? HamBak is trying to solo the Seraphine while the bot lane is trying to kill IU. IU has no flash.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just kill IU? It makes zero sense.
Try to return again from Impact right there onto Guigo. He's trying to find a solo kill up top side, but it's just so hard against the Sion, and he's actually pretty low himself as on top of Onslaught goes out. Grim Deliverance will be flashed by Guigo, throws back with the Primal Scream, dodging the Decimating Smash. Impact, fancy feat right now, but he's low on mana, low on health. Guigo will miss that Q, and Impact will actually trade back with another Dreaded Return, heals back up with Grasp of the Undying, and he bought time for HamBak to come in, who uses the W to get in range for the Q. Guigo's got the shield.
Yep, Guigo going to be able to survive there. Good flash on the Grim Deliverance, keeps him alive. And Sentinels aren't able to get one kill back. But yeah, that bot lane dive was actually crazy.
That was ridiculous.
I don't understand why they split. Like, why are you focusing the Seraphine, who is actually the one who has the flash?
Oh, IU slowed. Captive Audience did land, and that sets up huhi and Rahel to just chase him down, shut down, and much needed gold to Sentinel's bot laner.
That's good. IU with a little bit of int, a little bit of donation, you know.
False sense of security.
That's good. Okay, they were feeling very secure after that dive. Okay, let's watch this one more time. So yeah, Ashe has no flash. Okay, I guess Seraphine still had no flash too, but I just don't understand. Like, pick one target. Our whole combo is about stunning into Deadly Flourish. Pantheon just needs to W the Ashe and then Deadly Flourish out of it. Ashe dies for free, and then you can't even have this fight. Like, you don't have to worry about getting pulled under the tower because IU's dead and they're just running away. So I just truly do not understand what the communication could have been there. I'd be really interested in the comms because that just feels like, I don't even know. I just truly cannot understand what the communication could have been there.
Tatu getting the crowd moving. He was the one that actually impaled the HamBak underneath the turret there as DARKWINGS yet again in a 1v1. Tutsz is really trying to find these outplays. That's now 3 in a row that he's looked for here. His perfect execution will not have enough damage to shuriken flip lands, but he's right behind DARKWINGS, so Tutsz will not take it.
Yep. Good pressure there from Tutsz, but yeah, thankfully for DARKWINGS. Got pretty lucky, lived with 10 HP on that first all-in, and has been able to survive the next couple with calm play. Just kind of using the Realm Warp to get out. I mean, Impact, you know, he's smacking Guigo a little bit, but it's the damage is not very threatening, and Guigo's kind of hit that point where Sion very quickly hits, where you are just not threatened. You could just kind of fight the wave. HamBak considering fighting this.
Tempered Fate lands, but I mean, the rest of FURIA are here. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto the Encore setup. Chain CC, DARKWINGS will go down that time as HamBak goes for the Grand Starfall and picks up the Dragon. Sentinels get the objective, but it's a double kill to Tutsz, and now Sentinels need to get out of dodge. Tatu from behind lands the Impale on the HamBak and will just carry him away from the turret. Tutsz is rooted up, but Rahel just does not have the vision, does not have the damage. HamBak tries to trade it back, but IU will get the kill. It's an objective for 3 kills, and now Rahel's slowed too. Can't get back to the turret, he's fine.
Yeah, they had the anti-timing there. This one, I don't blame them as much. I mean, the Crystal Arrow hits right as the Pantheon is going in, and then Tatu just kind of Ishtal's impacts over the wall, so they kind of get split in that way. At the least, Sentinels did get the Dragon, but losing 3 kills for the Dragon, definitely not what you want. and they haven't even had to start dealing with Guigo, and it just feels like you're playing Ghostblade, Jhin, and a Ryze who's not really accelerated against Guigo, who's going to be so difficult to deal with. So, I mean, you can always win team fights regardless of your comp if you can play it perfectly, but it is very, very hard because I'm trying to think about how they actually even want to play it, and it feels like you basically want to Tempered Fate Ashe, and hopefully Seraphine too, and then Grand Starfall in, somehow gets a Hen in there, Jhin opens up the ult, and you're trying to just kind of one-shot their carries. But it feels very difficult to do that. And then even if you hit the Tempered Fate on both those members, how are Sion and Skarner not preventing you from doing anything there? How is, you know, Seraphine Encore not coming out? That's kind of what I'm worried about. I just don't really see a realistic fight that they win, because if you're hitting front to back, you lose 1,000 times out of 1,000.
I got it. You just have to hope and pray that Guigo's not there. You just be like, Sion's not going to be in the fight. We don't have to worry about him.
What about Tatu? Can he not be there too? Can everyone except for Ashe not be there?
Yeah, if we just find IU alone, if everyone else's PCs turn off at the same time, I think we could actually have a pretty good shot of killing that Ashe. Not 100%, you know, has some of their spells available still, but not the worst. Total gold right now, it is IU leading the charge. Rahel not too far behind. Sentinels overall are 1.3K behind. And that's spread out between mid, bot, and support. So no single player has ran away with a big lead. You can at least give that to Sentinels. But as the game goes on, it's not going to get easier for them. For all the reasons you've been highlighting, like the team fight is still going to be almost impossible for them. They're going to have to find creative ways to find their own gold lead.
And the issue now is that Tutsz is accelerated, right? DARKWINGS have been able to live in the 1v1 every single time. He hadn't gotten any kills. If Akali is just farming 0-0-0 against a 0-0 Ryze, you are happy about that. Then you can maybe say, oh, we'll just play through side lanes. Ryze will get to a point where he can win the 1v1, and maybe he'll kind of spread the map and find picks that way with Pantheon. And maybe that's your problem-solving way, because, hey, we have Bard, we have Pantheon, we have Realm Warp. We play, you know, we're going to catch people in transition. But all of a sudden, Akali gets 2 kills and an assist in that team fight.
Oh, Impact's actually struggling here in the 1v1. Lands the dreaded return, but is so low. He has a passive stacked up, so Guigo's not going to get the kill. Grand Starfall in underneath the turret. He's got the shield. Grim Deliverance for the damage. HamBak's tanking it up. They get the kill, but top side flash from the Shuriken flip. Tutsz will not find his own kill, and Sentinels are able to retreat from Guigo under the turret. All right, well executed. They get the kill, and they avoid the kill top side.
Yeah, that was good. I feel like Impact should have just tanked it up, though, because he had his passive stack, so he could have just used his revive instead of forcing HamBak to do that. I think it would have made it a lot easier. He probably could have saved the flash from HamBak as well. But DARKWINGS surviving. We're going to look for a pick.
Call here onto IU. JoJo's going to try and body block as many of these as he can, but now the Tempered Fate. DARKWINGS on the flank. Tatu trying to get onto the Ryze. He's all alone. The rest of the Sentinels are trying to get in there as the Impale will land on the 2, but JoJo and IU are split from Tatu. Teleported in from Tutsz. The Akali trying to get the damage in. Tatu will get the kill on the huhi. Tatu is still alive, and FURIA are just running through the health bars of Sentinels. A double kill to Tatu. Tutsz on a killing spree, and FURIA will get the Herald to boot.
Yeah, those last couple shots from the Jhin curtain call did not connect at all. The third and the fourth shot both missed, which honestly was pretty surprising. And then IU survives. As long as he survives, things are going to look good. And this is kind of what I'm talking about, where it's so difficult. I mean, yeah, Zaahen was not there, but the whole team wasn't there for FURIA either. And it's very tough for DARKWINGS and HamBak to be relevant, to be in a position to actually damage the backline without getting CC'd by the frontliners and without getting CC'd by the Encore. And we kind of got to see that. And now it is a 3,000 gold lead here. So here it is one more time. I mean, IU steps too far forward for sure. Nice deadly flourish. And they stun him up.
Starts great.
It does start great, but both the third and the fourth shot missing is very surprising. It goes, splits the uprights there.
Flash,
Yeah, I mean, had he been able to connect onto IU, it could have been pretty good, but then HamBak, this kind of comes back. This is a good example of how League of Legends can really snowball from execution. Imagine if HamBak had flash and he could flash out the Skarner ult and stun IU, and IU dies instantly there.
Sure, yeah.
And he does not have flash because Impact didn't tank the tower on the bot lane dive, right? And that's one of those things where...
Dominoes.
It is. It's actually crazy dominoes. And I mean, maybe they disagree and they feel like they played the bot lane dive correctly. From my point of view, Impact should have always been tanking that and just used the passive for the revive. And then HamBak still has his flash. IU maybe gets one shot there, and maybe the team fight is completely different, and maybe the game is completely different, but that's not the way they played it. He lost his flash on bot side, and that means he gets Skarner ulted. That means that IU walks away, and if you can't one-shot IU, he's going to do way more consistent damage than anyone on your team.
Yeah, Tatu impaling into the Encore was beautiful setup. His impact was not spotted in this brush spot side. FURIA have multiple members hanging around. Sentinel as well. Grand Starfall is available. HamBak could look for a big engage. His impact will spot out 2 members. Dodges the stun. Tatu gets in there. Has the impale available. Flashed by impact. So Summoner Spell committed to survive as the Herald was dropped and it will not get the charge. The arrow goes wide. And now they get into the Herald. The Cosmic Binder tried their Tempered Fate will block at the Encore onto a couple members, but Sentinels still fancy themselves an engage. They got Tatu's flash out, as the rest of FURIA can't quite get into the fight yet. They have their top laner joining up, but a little late as Sentinels do hold the turret for now.
Yep, I mean, Tatu is not that tanky, to be honest, but even him you can't knock down, and the Sion is going to be way harder. Sion's going to be way harder to kill. Obviously, that started really poorly because Impact got spotted. He has to use both the Grim Deliverance and the Flash to get away. And then they decide, you know what, it's probably not going to get better. We just need to try to force things regardless. So they are going to decide to just send it. But the CC is always going to be the problem for FURIA. I mean, HamBak arrives, and I don't know if he was like mashing against Assault or maybe he wanted to hold it for later in the fight, but he didn't get it off and ends up losing so much of his health during that CC. I mean, Jhin is just never going to threaten the front line. I mean, we're going Ghostblade into LDR, I believe. Ooh. And it's just like, where's your damage, right? Like, Ryze maybe eventually is going to do something because it is purely armor being stacked by Guigo, but a fight where your Ryze is hitting the Sion the entire fight is not a fight you're going to win anyway. So I do think it's going to be really, really, really tough for them. And they need to keep trying to go for these side lane plays. Like, the dive on the Sion was good. If you can get a bunch of kills through that sort of a style of play, then that could be a way in. But FURIA just have to keep doing what they're doing. Just show up for every objective and just make it tough for Sentinels frontliners to ever actually get onto IU, and you're going to be good.
Lord Dominant Guards is finished for Rahel, so the LDR has come in. But I think at this point, the only win condition for Sentinels is Impact having pop-off plays. Like, Zaahen, maybe we get... can we say 300 years? Is Zaahen the 300 years champion? I know Aphelios was 200 years. I feel like Zaahen has so much power in his kit that we've seen him just take over games that feel unwinnable regardless. So maybe that is the win condition. As actually, that's a Baron startup on spawn from FURIA. We see multiple members of Sentinels down here.
I think they're going to get it too. I don't think Sentinels has any idea. They're not even... Now there's some pings. I think maybe now they're a little bit nervous, but... Okay. And
they drop the far side alteration. They'll see it's at half health. They have the Tempered Fate. They'll throw it in there to delay. Teleport in from Impact on the flank. And Rahel will walk straight into Guigo. Knocked up with the arrow cleansed instantly. He's trying to get back. But the Impale now onto huhi means that it's a numbers advantage for FURIA. JoJo flashes the Deadly Flourish to survive it. Baron is delayed. But FURIA do get a teleport and a kill for it.
Yep, they get the teleport. They get the kill. Again, just hit whatever.
Back on it.
Legit doesn't matter who they're hitting. They hit anyone. Any CC lands on any Sentinels member, impale them, kill them. Yep. There's really no recourse to that. Unless you can find like a Tempered Fate on the impaled player to delay, but now they don't even feel like they can enter. And they're going to be too late. The Baron, I think, is just going to be gone before they can do anything about it. There's no Grand Starfall.
Impact is walking in. DARKWINGS is too far behind. They will just watch as it falls. FURIA pick up the big purple worm, and now they're going to try and get out of here. Guigo pulled back in. HamBak trying to lock him down, but you can see how tanky this Sion is. Grim Deliverance follow-up from Impact. He's tried his absolute hardest to get the kill. They got it. Rahel with the curtain call will get one. Zombie form Sion in the fight, can trade one back, but the Zaahen has the passive, has the revive, and now it's up to Tutsz. He got out of the carries. The Akali unleashed, but now CC, now knocked up, gets the double kill, but will go down. Sentinels get a shutdown to DARKWINGS and do win the extended fight.
That was actually really big for Sentinels. They just full send it. They realize how bad of a position they're in. You just need to keep trying to fight. And this time, DARKWINGS actually got in the backline and put so much pressure onto IU and JoJo, which is really well done. And then this knock-up in that final moment, it looked like Tutsz got knocked up either out of his R2 or his E. The knock-up from Zaahen canceled that, and that actually helped to keep him alive. So they already secured this. We knew this was going to be gone. And then Guigo gets a little bit too confident. The rest of the team is all walking the other way, and it's warded. You can see in the top left of your screen. So they're saying, all right, well, we're just going to keep hitting you. And they're not going to stop chasing you because they know the game is just going to get worse and worse and worse. So they full send it. Impact has his revive ready. Tatu does survive for quite a while. It's a great encore, but then look at huhi on the side and look at DARKWINGS. DARKWINGS gets into that back line, is landing a ton of damage down, and then track Tatu as he gets knocked up right there.
Impact.
Out of the air, gets knocked up. The blast cone gets taken away, so they knock him down as well. And that is a lot of gold back there for Sentinels. They would love to grab this dragon, but doesn't look like it's going to be possible because DARKWINGS is topside, and so is HamBak, so that's going to be furious.
It's a 1,000 gold lead. It's a negative Baron gold lead so far. That's a Baron deficit right there of about 1,800, but I don't think it's going to matter too much. FURIA, they get back to the map. They take this dragon. That's their second of the game, and they still have Baron buff on Tatu. He was the one that lived, so they still could theoretically look for you know, pushing in some waves if they want to use it.
They're not answering top, so I think FURIA is actually not really having their lane assignments very set up well right now. So DARKWINGS pushes that in, gets a plate, and DARKWINGS is looking to try to build towards the actualizer next. Once you get that, his Roa is just ticked over to 10 stacks, so he's level 15, and Impact needs to run.
So far losing the 1v1, will Grim Deliverance away as the arrow barely misses its mark. Impact will be safe for now.
Yep, gonna stay alive. You just have to play. You are weak-sided right there, and you got to play really, really safe. They're going to go for a dive.
Ooh, I like that from huhi, stopping the turrets. DARKWINGS can walk forward. Guigo, ultimate, body blocked by huhi. That Bard just bought so much time for Sentinels to find their pick onto the tanky top laner, and that Sion went down.
This is really nicely done. This is the kind of problem-solving that we were talking about when we're trying to think about, okay, how could you actually win? Well, you have Pantheon, you have Bard, you have Ryze. Try to play through sides. Try to keep picking them off because the 5v5s are going to be really, really tough. The difficulty with that is always if you're trying to play one of those kind of skirmishy, split bushy style comps, if your opponents are getting dragons, eventually you are drawn to there and you have to fight, right? Yeah. So that is the problem that they are going to be dealing with here. They've gotten a couple nice picks in the side lanes. They had that bot lane dive, obviously, on Sion. Now they get a top lane kill on a Sion. And that's the actualizer gold for DARKWINGS because he got some plate gold. True. He actually got, you know, a good injection there. And actualizer, anything is possible. You know, do I still favor FURIA's comp? Yes, heavily. But when you pop that actualizer and you get into the backline and you get some good damage down, you can sometimes just win a fight straight up, right? Where you are just bouncing the spell flux across multiple members. You know, you're getting so much damage down, and sometimes it can work. So we'll see.
Right now, vision is dark in the top jungle. DARKWINGS is walking up here to get towards this top wave, and huhi's going to back him up. I will say that the gold is still even. It's good for Sentinels that they got some of that back in their favor. It's about a 3K lead for FURIA before the Baron. They get the Baron, it's a negative play, and then they also lose the play immediately afterwards. So Sentinels are back in it slightly, and a lot of that is on Impact. So when you talk about the win condition, the Zaahen does have that lead right now as he's once again relegated to the side lane in this 1v1, but I still just love FURIA's composition and their chances with it. No,
I completely agree. I think Sentinels are doing the best they can, though, from a tough spot. I mean, they really misplayed some of the early game stuff that got them behind, and I think their draft was always going to be a lot more difficult to pilot. Guigo has so much armor, but he has almost no MR. I think a lot of Sions would have built a little bit earlier MR, which is why you're seeing Ryze do so much damage to him. You know, he just has that null, and that's it. But obviously, because he is ignoring MR completely, when Impact is hitting him, it looks like this, where Impact is just hitting him over and over and over. He even went Stridebreaker to be able to have a bit more chase down, probably onto the Ashe on the Seraphine. And it's going to be a very long fight if it were ever Impact killing Guigo.
Yeah, but I mean, unless HamBak's also hitting him, because that's where the Black Cleaver is. You kind of want the stacks to shred some of that armor before Impact's able to really do any damage to him. I agree that Impact's job is going to instead be focus on the carries. Because, like, theoretically, let's lay the hypothetical here.
You're ignoring Sion in the fight you win.
If you ignore Sion and you just dive the Ashe, I know it's tough with the Seraphine. Like, it's not going to be an easy job. But, like, if you can just kill the Ashe and kill the Akali, like, the Sion threat goes way down because he's not going to be doing the damage himself.
No, it's completely true. I mean, that is always the case with these style of compositions. Akali even has very low consistent damage, right? So if you one-shot the Ashe, and even just the Akali is fine, whatever, if you one-shot the Ashe at the start of a fight, you do have a really good chance in those fights because Skarner and Sion and Seraphine have some upfront threat with their ultis and with that CC, but it's not long-term. You know, it's going to really plummet after the fight goes on for a bit. So that is obviously the glass half full. The glass half empty.
I'm a glass half full kind of guy. When I have an orange juice, it's half
full.
Yeah, it's half full there.
And the glass half empty is that, obviously you want to kill Ayu, but there's so much peel.
Yeah.
So
it's not going to make it easy, as that was a realm warp from DARKWINGS. Not exactly sure.
I think they were nervous about Baron. They were really nervous that they were rushing down Baron, so he's trying to rush out of base and pops that. He does have his Seekers, and IE's done for Rahel, so some big items coming through. Death Dance done. You can see Infinity Edge was already finished there for IU. Tutsz is on 3 items, and now Tatu's just going in towards support itemization, which is always very strong.
As we have Guigo actually starting things off on Impact right now. Nice interrupt on the Tatu's engage, and Impact gets a huge Grim Deliverance on the multiple. Tutsz on the back line gets onto huhi, but he flashes to safety as Impact trying his best to get onto IU. Cannot kill the Ashe, goes into the stasis. The resurrecting now. Ixtal's Impact under the turret, flashes back into Furia's jungle, but they can chase him down. Dread of Return will land onto multiple members, but it is not enough. Impact tried to get onto IU, but it's easier said than done. The Seraphine keeping the Ashe safe. Everybody keeping the Ashe safe, and now Sentinels only have 2 members left alive. They only picked up the support. 1 current call lands, the second will not, as they're able to back off there. And actually, nobody down on the side of FURIA.
Yeah,
I mean, JoJo didn't even fall.
Tutsz just destroyed DARKWINGS. DARKWINGS didn't even use the stasis, so I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Because it seemed like a pretty good start to the fight. I mean, they jumped in on Impact. There was clearly some miscommunication, as they're going to try to just secure this. We'll see if they rush it down.
It's the solo laners. It's going to be a 2v2. Guigo and Tutsz just jumping onto HamBak. It is smite secured by the jungler, but Tutsz will get a kill for the effort, as he'll also follow up on the portal from huhi. Cosmic Binding can stun up. Has the Tempered Fate as well. Over the walls Rahel, but they just don't have quite enough. Ooh, stasis for the Binding. As in comes Guigo to keep his mid laner safe, try and get them out of there. DARKWINGS is here. Everybody's here. The arrow lands, a splash out of Tutsz. As teleported from Impact will not get the kill onto Akali. Sentinels, they tried to find something there. They get the dragon, but it is another Baron to FURIA.
Yeah, but at the very least, they do get the dragon. But of course, great stuff from FURIA. I want to see that fight one more time and see exactly what happened to DARKWINGS. But definitely miscommunication there.
Yeah.
Because, so the call here from huhi is, oh, I'll save you with the Tempered Fate, but he's ulting away from it, right? So clearly it was different calls there. Okay, so oh yeah, it was just the Impale. So it was just the Impale onto DARKWINGS. DARKWINGS basically gets CC'd 100-0. I mean, if you get tagged with the Encore, you're going to get hit by the Impale. Everything's going to kind of chain up there. Obviously, there's a Crystal Arrow. There's so much CC. And if you can't flash the initial CC, you're kind of cooked, and that's what he would have had to do. I think this fight would have actually been pretty winnable had he not gotten hit by that Impale. You know, if you could flash the initial CC as DARKWINGS, then the amount of damage you can put out is actually pretty high. And IU got pushed back pretty quickly, so... But that's just kind of the way it is, right?
That's one of those fights I want us to take a look at again, because also the start of it, really weird positioning as Guigo. Can he survive this? What are the odds? No, he does go down. All right, 4 members of Sentinels. If we get 4 people hitting the Sion at one time, we can actually kill him.
Yeah, he's dead.
Not too bad. As Tutsz will land the Shuriken flip onto Impact. 5-point strike as well, but he gets back to the safety of the rest of his team. The arrow now onto DARKWINGS. Beautiful Bartle from huhi to stop the re-engage from Tatu.
This is a TP
as
from
well.
Tutsz.
Yeah, TP from Tutsz to try and stop the retreat. It is spotted though, so Sentinels know that he's there, and they will not run into the Akali.
We must go home.
Retreat.
Get out of there. All right. Well, Sentinels doing a decent job. FURIA clearly in control though, and this would move them to match point. You can see Tutsz is really strong now. I mean, he's going to be working in probably towards a death cap at this point. He's already got a lot of AP. I doubt he's building a Banshee's Veil with that large fraud, so next one should be a death cap. IU's on 4 fully completed items. He's 2,000 gold ahead of Rahel, and his champion just naturally does more consistent damage as well, and there's squishier members. So that is problematic for sure. But Impact at least is very far ahead. He's up 2K, so if he can have a really good fight, if he can get a passive stack, get in the back line, there's always going to be chances, but it just feels like so much is, can you not get destroyed by Impale and Encore and Crystal Arrow? You can't get CC by anything, because if you get hit by any of it, it's going to be chained, and someone's going to be dead on Sentinels, and then the fight is probably pretty lost. So it's all down to the start.
Yeah, this is, I feel like we're just playing different games at this point. Like the composition from FURIA, they're just playing a pretty straightforward game of checkers. It's just like move your pieces forward, do your front to back. I mean, Tutsz, of course, is kind of the wild card here on the Akali, but he's comfortable on the pick, and he's doing well. I feel like on Sentinel side,
everyone else on his team is playing checkers, and he's like, I advance the go and take $400.
He's playing Monopoly, just getting all the money back.
Brother, what are you talking about? Those are checkers pieces.
Some new iteration of just Sentinels. Meanwhile, they're playing like Punch-Out right now. They're just getting rocked by Tyson here. Like, it is so hard to win these fights. If they find a pick though onto Tutsz, that could be a good start to it. Goes into the Shroud, use the perfect execution once to try and get out of there, but Sentinels pull him back in. Impact lands the dreaded return as IU now slowed down by a couple shots there. HamBak, Grand Star fall in. They got onto JoJo. The Seraphine, the dominoes start to fall. Sentinels get 2 as IU now all alone on his retreat. Sentinels still have multiple members here. He doesn't have a turret up there, so they can desync the death timers if they chase for the kill. There's no objectives to take on the map, so yeah, you might as well just get the gold if they want to.
He should die. He should definitely die. I mean, keep going.
He's got Guigo behind him.
Where's
it's going to be HamBak. It's going to be DARKWINGS. Huhi's a little far behind as a flash from DARKWINGS over the unstoppable onslaught. Guigo's not able to land that one. Now Huhi joins up. Meanwhile, Impact's taking the bottom turret. Sentinels find kill after kill after kill, and they're going to turn it into a cracked base in the bot lane.
Just like they drew it up. I never doubted them.
Yep. That's that Punch-Out, baby. They learned, they figured it out. The Dark Souls boss has been defeated. They learned the attack pattern.
As soon as they locked in those first 3 picks, don't check the tapes, but I remember myself saying, oh, it's going to take us 1 pick onto the Akali into a chase down on JoJo in mid lane. And then you catch out IU, who's going topside with a nice flash.
This is where we test if our socials department is paying attention. Take that soundbite and overlay it onto the draft.
With me just blaming their draft and being like, FF, get me out.
But we just the soundbite from a few moments ago onto that moment. And there we go. That's it.
All right, let's cap that dragon. I will not unclench, though. I will say that. I'm still scared.
You're staying clenched.
I'm staying extremely clenched.
Azael, there's one thing I know about you. So when you're clenching, I'm clenching. All right. Sentinels, can they do it again?
I don't want to be clenched.
You don't want to be clenched?
No,
you don't want to co-clenchers?
I don't want to be synced up like that.
We're co-casters? We're co-clenchers? I thought this was like a...
It's got to be like a synergy natural, you know?
All right.
You can't force it.
All right.
Just like synergy.
I don't want to talk about forcing clenching right now, but I feel like we're getting back to the prune juice conversation that was happening earlier.
Buddy, just chill out, you know?
Just chill out.
Yeah.
We know why Azael doesn't drink juice anymore.
Your name is Kangas, not Kangas.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And together we are Asgas. Still back on the conversation. Baron's up for Sentinels. As they're starting it up, FURIA will spot it out. Tatu into Huhi and Impact, holding the line. Ixtel's Impact not available anymore. He's going to have to look to flash over this one if he wants to steal the onto the available. Impact. Oh, beautiful Bard ultimate to stall the steal attempt as Impact gets out of the back line. That's one down. They kill the Seraphine. Impale lands. Tutsz can try and get the damage down. He's stunned by HamBak. He's alone in the Shroud. His Impact is still alive in his 1v3 on the side. Grand Starfall to stop the retreat path. Shut down on Impact. Finally, HamBak Ixtel Impact into the wall. Rahel's trying to get some damage down. DARKWINGS is low. Scary to walk up. FURIA flash away. HamBak flash follows. They fancy themselves a kill onto the tank, and this time they'll get it. The Black Cleaver shreds the armor. Rahel gets the final kill. Sentinels find the play.
Okay, let's go. And we got the Baron, so that's big. That is really big. Ixtel's Impact, that is a really good interaction with the Pantheon stun. It pulls Pantheon out of the air of his stun, so you actually can't interrupt it there. Unless you're coming from maybe a different angle or something. But, you know, I saw that mid-fight. HamBak goes forward, goes to the stun. I'm like, great, he's going to interrupt the Ixtel's Impact, but he actually pulls him out of his stun. And was able to keep going. Otherwise, we could have got Tatu too. So
yeah, crazy.
Well played. I mean, that is Impact making a huge difference. He survived forever. Like our frontline killing is not good, but Impact puts so much pressure on the backline. He takes down JoJo. Yeah, he doesn't kill off IU, but he puts so much pressure on IU, and he has the revive stacked up. Yep. And honestly, just a really, really good job by Impact. He is acting as the front line, and now DARKWINGS is 6 items, and Jhin in the super late game actually starts to hurt because he gets so much AD with the passive, so they're getting to a point where we can win this game.
Impact's got to be my front runner for player of the game so far. He has kept them in this as the Zaahen. Tutsz has a flank angle, but Rahel does spot it out. Hits the blast cone to knock Tutsz back away, so FURIA's mid laner will back off of the attempt. Impact, meanwhile, still on top position. Teleport coming in, the arrow lands, but it's buffered by the Grim Deliverance. Tempered Fate will buy more space for Sentinels. Tutsz completes the teleport as DARKWINGS has to be careful. The encore lands on everybody, and Tutsz gets out of the back line. Sentinels.
Run, DARKWINGS. Get out of there, buddy.
There was a moment of hope, but that's been shut down just like HamBak.
I mean, we can still win the game, but like DARKWINGS needs to not die. We need to be careful here.
Yeah, this is a dangerous position
why are you
to be
still
in.
there?
Still up as Tutsz has the flash available, has the Zonias available. DARKWINGS has to be very careful as he will back off.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I mean, that was a bit rough. Impact is too far up. Impact is just way too far up. The Tempered Fate was really, really good from huhi. Right as Tatu lands the Impale, he Tempered Fates him,
Beautiful.
so it's going to delay a lot of the time, but the game might just be over. I think it is, unfortunately.
Long death timers, specifically HamBak, 25 seconds. It's going to be 15 for Rahel, 15 for Impact, so it could be a 4v5 base defense. FURIA still push into the Baron empowered minions. Maybe that's a saving grace here, but it just expired.
They got spooked. I thought they were going to force it. I feel like they could have maybe forced it still, but Impact and Rahel are up soon, and I was kind of worried that they were just going to get a kill onto DARKWINGS, and then the game would be ended, but Sentinels hold on. So I was getting too spooked for nothing. And now it's down to Soul, right? So now it's
clench though, Azael. You know, don't get too comfortable though.
Don't tell me to clench. I'll clench if I want to.
All right, fair enough. Tatu is the focus right now. Decimating smash from Guigo right onto 2 members as it also buffers the Tempered Fate with Unstoppable Onslaught. But ultimate used from the Sion as Dragon spawning in 40 seconds. Should have it back up by the next fight, but Sentinels for right now can get the vision control around the area.
Oh, wait, they spotted him, but okay, the recall finished. Damn, that would have been huge. All right, so we're still alive, but yeah, some bad things happened for sure. We stacked up before the Encore, and JoJo completely owned us. I mean, when you see Tutsz is TPing in, and you see the Encore hit Rahel, and then the double root comes through, you're like, okay, I've seen Jhin is one shot for sure. So that is tough, but it is still Sentinels in with a chance. They played it out way better than I thought they could. I just feel like this comp is hard to pilot. We'll see if they can make it work.
Now with Super Minions in the mid lane, Sentinels are fighting for control over the river. Damage on the Guigo as FURIA are stacking up for their approach at Dragon Soul. This would be Infernal Soul for Sentinels. Impact has a flank angle right now. Sentinels need to be careful about grouping up for the Encore as the arrow will go out. It lands here onto huhi. Focus onto the bar, but instead they turn on to DARKWINGS, who's too far forward from the rest of Sentinels. huhi mistiming the Tempered Fate to try and save his mid laner. DARKWINGS goes down, but he might be traded for Tutsz. If they can get the Akali, it could be worth. Flash of the wall from Tutsz, and he takes down huhi. FURIA will not lose their mid laner, and they'll kill Impact out of the Zaahen passive. Sentinels do not win the Dragon Soul fight. Crucially needed for them with 2 members left alive. FURIA will say they don't have the numbers. We're just going to go straight into the mid lane. HamBak will try and Grand Starfall to clear the wave, but there's just no shot. FURIA have done it. Going up 2-0 versus Sentinels in this best of 5. Just keep the wave safe, stop the backs, walk it in. And FURIA, Azael, they came to play some League of Legends today. CB Lowell go up 2-0 in the upper bracket.
Brutal, brutal. We're gonna have to go to the ADPC. I want to see this last fight again.
Yeah, go take a look at that, Azael. While you're doing that, I'm just gonna say how impressive from FURIA to not panic, to keep focused. They never stopped fighting. Like, even though Sentinels were finding a couple of plays, they found that one pick on a Guigo that then turned into a kind of cascading teamfight win for them later on. And then huhi having a couple of really good Tempered Fates to try and follow up later on. Like, FURIA never gave up, and they were able to find these plays. How is the replay looking, Azael? Do we have it?
It crashed.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So we might not have the replay for this game.
No, I don't think we'll have it, unfortunately. Unless I can get into it through like match history or something. No.
All right, well, that's unfortunate.
Maybe I can bring it up on YouTube. Maybe we can do this a jank way.
Take a look. See if you can do that. Because there's a lot of like really clutch moments from that game that felt like Sentinels could have found the way to find the win. But again, FURIA at the end there, I think Sentinels, it had to be like desperation engages back to back to back, basically. Their team composition was so tough to actually execute in those moments. So I feel like in a way they were lucky to even get to the point that they were at, but they gave me hope, man. I actually thought that they could do it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it is really, really hard. Okay, I don't know if we can do this way, but I have it on YouTube, so maybe we can actually just try it this way. It's obviously a little bit jank, but and you can't look at like anything other than what we actually saw on broadcast already, but I do want to see this one more time. So if we can bring up the computer, if we're okay doing that, then maybe we can just see straight onto YouTube. So I'm just going to be pulling it back up from YouTube.
Hey, there we are.
There we are. So I wanted to see what kind of happened with DARKWINGS in this fight. I want to watch this fight, and then I kind of want to watch the previous one.
Okay, sure.
Because DARKWINGS died without flashing again. The same thing happened at the end of the last game. The execution has to be so good, obviously, from Sentinels in these kind of late game fights. So Guigo is trying to take space. They're going for the Crystal Arrow. DARKWINGS is just kind of in a very risky position again by himself. Clearly doesn't feel like he wants to play front to back, so he wants to play on this side spot, but he's a little bit too far forward, right? Tutsz has been spotted down here. So Sentinels, basically you have kind of two options, right? Either you back off and you try to play towards marking the flank, or you push forward and you try to actually get like a short 5v4 type fight, and you risk getting flanked by Tutsz. So as the Crystal Arrow comes through, we see a Charm landing here, and again, DARKWINGS is just getting like fully CC'd. The mistiming on the Tempered Fate sucks, but I'm not sure that it really would have made that much of a difference because Tutsz has now come over the wall. He's zoning out HamBak and Rahel. Like, look at where Rahel is. He basically can't join this fight at all.
Yeah.
And DARKWINGS is a lot of your damage at this point. He is 6 items. He gets focused down. And to me, it just came down to him positioning a little bit too far forward. I mean, you're not even getting hit by the Crystal Arrow. You're just getting hit by the root. And he gets Mikhail's out of it, but then insta hit by the Charm right after. So got tagged by the Encore from JoJo. You know, well played by him. But at this level, you got to flash that, buddy.
Yep.
You got to flash that every single time. Like, this is him on vision hitting you with the Encore after you just got Mikhail's out of the other CC that you didn't flash, right? It's just there's no Crystal Arrow. So if he actually flashes that, there's no real CC for him, right? Besides maybe like a point blank Sion ult or something to set that up. But I feel like that is way more playable. So that one was pretty tough. And then I'm gonna try to go back and we'll see if I can find this top lane play. Where was the top lane play? Was it before this? Yeah, I think it was before.
I think it was before, yeah, because this was where FURIA was able to...
All right, so this is, I think, maybe a replay of it. But this is just Impact. It's like, again, you know, just overextended a bit. We know generally where they are. They have been bouncing between these two waves. They're trying to play this Baron setup, right? So you're trying to have this synced up where Impact is pushing forward, and then as FURIA comes and answers this mid wave here, you know, they are getting pressure on the top side, and then you have supers coming in through bot, right? So you're kind of trying to play through these through waves and bounce back and forth, but Impact is stepping too far forward in this case. You know they have the inside track. TP's coming in here, and so Sentinels are all trying to pile in to be able to bail him out. But if you're going to use the Grim Deliverance, you know, to retreat, then that is your strongest team fighting tool on your strongest member that's already gone. So already you should be thinking about disengaging this fight. Tatu, though, so much credit to him. He buffers the Impale so it lands right as Impact comes out of this. So watch this again. This is really well timed. Impact is trying to immune the CC, but look at this. Impale, instantly as he lands. So well played there by Tatu. Lands that. The Tempered Fate is also really, really good on the side. But then look at JoJo right here. He's already lining this up. You need to be thinking about the AoE CC. You need to be thinking about the Encore that's coming through. This is both of your carries lined up with the guy who can't do anything, who's already CC'd. They get hit by the Charm, and then the root comes through from JoJo. He's stunned up. Now he's knocked up. Tutsz arrives. Rahel is dead. As soon as I saw that Encore hit, you already know that fight is over. So these are things, and you can see that is my reaction right there. That's how I felt.
Yeah.
You know that fight is lost. It's just execution in the late games. I mean, this comp, I think, is way harder to play than what FURIA drafted out last time. I think their comp in Game 1 was easier to play, but at the end of the day, FURIA has just played better in all of the most important fights, in all the biggest moments, so rightfully so, they are at match point. We've had 2 really close games, but close does not count.
Yeah, I'll say, though, they gave us hope. The comp was so hard to play from the beginning. We had a lot of gripes with it going into it. I think at this point, maybe we can tell socials to not go ahead and put your audio over the draft, because it was what you said in draft. Like, they just can't kill the front line. They can't kill IU. Even if Impact's able to get onto that back line, there were only like one instance where Impact was able to pull off that big fight because of just the draft differential that we saw there. FURIA's comp was so much easier to execute, and they executed it incredibly well. Tatu with player of the game. Very well played from him, 5-1 and 17, and the Skarner, you know, counter plays, the Skarner engages following up, and like dragging into the Encore. Like, there were so many cool moments that Tatu was able to pull off in that game too.
Yeah, I mean, they're just playing AoE CC in almost all their comps, and they're playing it super well. You think back to the previous game, they had, you know, Cyclone and Nami Wave and like all of these tools, so they're playing it great, and we'll have to see if Sentinels can clean it up in late game to even make this a series. Otherwise, they're about to be swept out into the lower bracket. FURIA's looking like the best best team in the America's Cup.
One loss from Sentinels, and they're in the lower bracket. FURIA would then go to the finals. Let's see if we get a sweep or if Sentinels can give us a series. We're going to throw it to a short break, and we'll be back after this.